Okay, well, we are live, everybody. Tampa Bay Developer Podcast here today with Kimberlee Curtis. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me.
Of course, absolutely. So you are creating the Gold's Gym in the new Gas Worx.
I am.
And we just toured the new facility. It's not built out yet, but you gave us the vision for it. And I have to say, it's incredible.
Thank you.
Super impressive what you're putting together there.
Thank you.
How did you kind of come up with that vision?
Well, I think the vision was always, I always wanted a gold specifically. When I started thinking about this, I was speaking to my business partners and said, Tampa's growing so much and it's exploding, and there's really nothing downtown other than Crunch, and it's so packed and it's so busy because that's people don't have anywhere else to go right there. And I said, downtown needs another gym.
100%.
And I said, but I told my business partners, I said, if for me, it's Gold's or it's nothing. And I said, because I have such a, passion for the brand specifically, and love for the brand and history with the brand and an emotional connection to the brand, that, if we can't do that brand, I don't know if we'll do a gym. And I said, I guess we could explore like an independently owned gym, a one-off,
right.
Which, still could have had the same vision, but I don't think it would have carried the same weight
right.
with, the residents as a Gold's brand.
It's such an iconic brand.
It is.
I mean, it's really like the foundation of bodybuilding. You think of Gold's,
That's right. Yeah.
And going into Crunch, I mean, I've walked out of that place before at like 5 o'clock on a weekday. You walk in, you try to get a workout in, it's like, I can't, I will literally be here for 3 hours if I even attempt to stay.
Yeah.
So I think regardless of what your plan is, there's a need
Yes.
for extra space and extra gym space.
There is, right. And not saying anything bad about Crunch at all. It's just busy.
Right.
It's just very busy. And any business at all in any, market gets to a certain capacity of members, and then beyond a certain capacity, it starts being an unpleasant experience. Mm-hmm. And, and I think that just because there isn't anything else down there that is a strength training gym, just with strength equipment, that's what the focus is. I think just because their membership base is so high, there was a need for it.
Yeah, I think it's cool that you're really focusing on strength and like bodybuilding in particular. There's so many gyms you walk into, and there's almost too much coming at you. They've got like the spin classes and this class, that class. It's nice you kind of have a central strength training focus.
Yes.
So you kind of mentioned your history with Gold specifically,
Yes.
but how did you start your fitness journey?
So I started at a Gold's Gym, and ironically, 20 years ago this year, in Cincinnati, Ohio, was the first time I ever stepped foot in a Gold's Gym. It was the first time I ever picked up a weight. It was the first time I ever did any of that. And from literally the first day, a friend of mine, she was like, "Oh, I've been into bodybuilding for years. I'll take you with me." And I said, "Great, let's do it." And so we went, and from day one, I was obsessed, like completely hooked. And I was like, this is amazing. And it was Gold's. And so I learned how to weight train in a Gold's Gym.
Wow.
20 years ago. So it's just completely ironic that it was literally in 2003 that I stepped into a Gold's Gym for the first time.
20 years. Wow. So
That's
have
right.
you done any professional competitions or anything like that?
No, that is not my thing at all. For me, it's just, it's just staying healthy first and foremost, right? But I think we know more now, even from a medical standpoint and longevity standpoint, that strength training and weight training, like how good it is for us, right? And it used to kind of be, well, it's cardio, and if you lift weights, you're just going to get big and bulky, right? But I think the mentality on that has completely changed, and now it's, having lean muscle keeps you healthier longer, and, all of the benefits. There's just so many benefits, but I think we all know that now. So for me, it's first and foremost, it's about my health.
For women too, especially. I mean,
women,
men have probably obviously been at the forefront of strength
Correct.
training. It seems like a lot more women now are into it.
It
More
is.
casual women just getting a workout
That's
in the
right.
gym, lifting weights.
Yep, definitely. And I think that, I'm glad to see it, and I'm glad to see that, I think used to when I first started, I would walk in and kind of feel like, okay, well, there's, 100 dudes in here, and there's
Right.
like 3 women, and for me, it was intimidating, and it was like, yeah, well, whatever. I mean, I'll just get used to it. And but I'm glad to see it's changed. I'm glad to see that women do feel at home, and that they have a place there in a strength training gym. I'm glad that, but I think that the environment and society has changed a lot too, to
sure.
give them a way to feel more comfortable in a gym. And I think men see women differently in a gym now than maybe they used to.
Yeah, and the gym culture is a lot larger now, I think,
is.
than it ever has been. I mean, on Instagram, there's entire
Yes.
pages dedicated even to gym fashion.
Yes.
Supplements is huge.
Yes.
Obviously, food, nutrition, stuff like that.
Right.
You've probably seen that huge shift in your 20-year fitness journey, for sure.
Definitely. Yeah. Everything is just, I think social media just took it all to a different level, and
Right.
people found a way to monetize their workouts, which was brilliant. I mean, to be able to combine your passion for weight training or functional training, CrossFit, whatever it is, and be able to monetize that via social media has been huge.
Yeah.
And then they get sponsorships and
Massive.
it's just been, it's been huge. And I think that that's created a whole new base, culture for strength training.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting on the little tour we just did. You were talking about that specifically, about how you're not going to shy away as a gym owner from that new niche of these fitness creators and content creators online. You recognize that, hey, there's a lot of people that work out for a living.
That's right.
But they don't do it professionally on stage. They do it professionally through social media.
That's right. They do.
Yeah.
They do. And we want to make sure that they feel like that, with their membership, that they have the opportunity to, combine their workouts with their work if they want to. If they want to film their workouts for their own content on their page, they're welcome to. We encourage it. I mean, I think that any gym that's trying to keep that out of their gym is fighting a losing battle. And I think if we just provide them with great equipment, a great environment, great lighting, we're going to have ring lights available and, tripods available for them to use. And we're going to put them throughout the gym, and we're going to say, hey, film your content. We're good with it. Respect the other members. Let's not do it in the locker rooms,
right.
but let's do it on the gym floor, but respect who's around you. And, but yeah, if that's what you do and, you want to do that here, so be it, because that's what the culture is, and that's what our demographic wants.
It's the new normal.
It is.
Right?
It's
I mean, if you walk into any gym, except maybe Planet Fitness, they kind of frown upon that. But,
right.
Any gym, there's people taking selfies
sure.
and they're doing videos.
Sure.
So that's
Sure.
awesome that you guys recognize that.
Yeah, we do. And it's, I think, with any, type of trend or anything, if it catches on and becomes as big as this has, if you're not going with it and you're fighting against it, you're not going to keep up. You're going to get left behind.
I think it's here to stay.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So the first gym you ever worked out at was at Gold's Gym.
It was.
So it sounds like it was only natural when you decided to open a gym here. It's got to be Gold's.
Got to be Gold's. Yep.
But as far as like the business side of it, how does that all work? You're a franchisee of Gold's.
Yes. So basically, I was having lunch with my business partner, and I had this idea, and it was so funny because he calls me about 5 or 6 days later, and he said, "Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing tomorrow at 10 a.m. or whatever it was?" And I said, "Nothing." And he said, "Okay, cool. We have a call with Gold's." And I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah." I reached out to him and said, "Hey, we're interested." And they said, "Great. We're wanting to pick up a franchisee in that market. We've got some groups interested, but we haven't selected anybody yet." So we hopped on a call with their franchise recruiting team and just kind of had a get to know you call and just kind of, an exploratory call. Just how does this work and what do we do and what are the expectations and what are the costs and, and all of that. And so, but from the first phone call with them, we just kind of clicked with them. It was like a kind of a natural flow of conversation, and we really liked them, and it was all via Zoom. And, and I felt like there was an immediate kind of familiarity with the people at Gold's, and they're they're so amazing overall anyway, but it was right away. It was just,
I'm sure you shared that story of, hey, the first gym I was ever in was Gold's. I love you guys.
Yeah, I did for sure. And I told them, in my travels and stuff over the years, if there was ever a Gold's gym, I would go and I would work out at the Gold's, and everything. So yeah, they appreciated that.
That was my first gym in Sarasota too. I was 17 years old. This was, I guess, 12 something years ago, but now it's a Crunch Fitness. So it seems like Gold's was pretty big. I remember there was one in Tampa, there was one in Sarasota. Now you can't find them anywhere. And now from your conversations, it sounds like they're bringing them back. What kind of happened with Gold's?
Yeah, so the ownership of the brand has changed hands a few times over the last, 20 plus years. More recently, it was bought in 2020. Unfortunately, the previous ownership group had mishandled the company from a corporate perspective, and they were in bankruptcy at the time. And a company based in Germany, in Berlin, called the RSG Group, they knew that Gold's was going to be available. They own all of the McFit gyms and John Reed gyms in Europe, and the owner of the company, which that's a whole nother story too, but the owner of the company, he always loved Gold's. He was kind of obsessed with the brand. So when the opportunity came up to buy it out of bankruptcy, he jumped on it and bought it. And from that moment forward, his vision for the brand was, Gold's has a history that no other brand has, right? And we've got to bring it back. We've got to get this back to where it used to be. We have to bring the brand back, right? And really honor the history first and foremost, but raise it back up to a level that people respect, because I think that a lot of the way that it had been handled and franchisees had been handled, it's just like the respect for the brand had really fallen off.
Yeah, I remember when the one in Sarasota closed, you could kind of see the writing on the wall. The equipment was getting dingy. The gym was kind of falling apart a little bit. And,
and a lot of that was not the fault of the franchisees at all. It was
they didn't have support.
They did not have support. And it was, and the franchisees, I know that a lot of them just, they struggled and kind of just didn't get what they needed, from corporate at the time, which is completely different than what it's like now. The RSG group is incredibly supportive. They're reachable anytime, right? And they're accessible, which I think is huge as a franchisee. And it was one of the things that kind of drew us, to want to do this too, was not only is there a corporate support team in the United States, but the actual parent company ownership is accessible, So, and it's one of the first things I did after we signed the development agreement was I went to the leadership conference in Los Angeles last September. And that was the first time I got to meet everyone in person. And it was everyone from the ownership of RSG all the way down to every franchisee, people from all over the world.
Wow.
Huge. And I was brand new. I was the newest franchisee at this leadership conference. And I honestly was just kind of like a fish out of water. And I'm going, this is all new. This is so new to me. But immediately, they all embraced me and made me feel at home. And I knew from the minute that I started meeting these people that I was at the right place and with the right people. They really do look at their franchisees as a part of the Gold's family. There's not this feeling of, oh, we're corporate and, oh, you're just a franchisee. It's we're all part of the same brand and the same company with the same goals.
It has to be that way, right?
Yes.
With that relationship. Otherwise, you kind of get what happened a decade ago. It falls apart.
Correct. Right. It really does. And I think that RSG knew that, and they knew how to come in and say, we're still going to have corporate-owned gyms, but we need to be here for our franchisees and make sure they succeed, because if they succeed, we all succeed.
Right. Yeah, it's all a part of building that brand.
It is.
Are there any Gold's kind of in the Tampa Bay area right now?
There is one that has been in, I believe it's the Carrollwood area for a really long time. So he is still open and operational, but he's the only one left in Tampa. So and so I basically, when I signed to the development agreement, I took the Tampa market, excluding his
That one.
right, his location.
Amazing. So what is that relationship, I guess, between Golds and you? I mean, how does that work, I guess, on like a business level? Do they fund a sort of like a startup to help get you going and open these gyms? No. Oh, no.
No.
It's all on you?
It is. Yeah, that's the way the franchising works. And actually, franchisees pay Golds
To use the brand.
And then it's our responsibility from there to build out the equipment, and all of that. So, and then there's an ongoing royalty fee that happens on a monthly basis going forward to use the brand. But, kind of going back to the support we get from them, it's not like you pay that just for the brand, right? You pay that for a lot of support and a lot of help. And they really, they're there anytime I need them. I mean, I have a dedicated franchise support team, and my primary contact, Billy, he's amazing. And so I can literally text him at any hour of the day or call, and he's there.
I'm sure you've been doing that a lot recently with your plans.
As recently as this morning, I was asking him about something. So, yeah, but you get a lot of support, with that. And they've also arranged events for us, and we've gone and done group events. We had a vendor summit recently where, they brought us all out to Phoenix to kind of have, a long weekend with our equipment vendors and supply vendors and things like that to get to know each other. And like Golds did that for us, and they covered that, so it's
amazing.
like, right. So it's not like you just pay them and then they just say,
it's not just for the name.
Go build a gym. Right. No,
right.
No, you get a ton of support. I mean, and so that was a difference maker for us too, is knowing we were going to have that level of support to help get us going, since we really had never done this before.
Amazing. Yeah. So you're planning on building a few more kind of in like the Tampa Bay, and then you mentioned a little bit further south to Sarasota kind of area.
Yes. Yeah, we have plans. So our development agreement is for 7 clubs.
7.
And yes, in this region. And so we have basically South Pinellas, St. Pete, Tampa, Bradenton, and Sarasota.
Amazing.
Yep.
Now this one, the Gas Worx location, will that be in a sense like a flagship?
Yes. Very much so. And I think a lot of what drives that is how unique the space is.
For sure, right?
The chances of us finding another space that's that unique in an area that unique and part of a development like Gas Worx is probably slim to none.
A lot of people probably don't realize this. It's an old warehouse, but what it was a Loomis center. So they used to store precious metals, probably cash.
Yes.
Loomis is a company that owns a lot of armored cars. So there's literally like a huge safe in there. There's these warehouse areas with these thick metal doors. It's literally built like Fort Knox. It's so cool.
It is.
And your idea to keep a lot of those elements is awesome.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. I said, look, we've got some unique things here that, no one else does and they won't have. So let's go with it. Let's keep them there, and let's figure out a way to build it into the concept.
When you explained the location and the, I guess, vision for this location, did the corporate Gold say, what? Like, this sounds crazy,
They did. And they said, well, send us the address and we'll look it up on Google Maps. And they looked at Google Maps and said, wait, what?
Well, it's a weird spot, right? Between two highways.
It is.
It's kind of shoved in
there.
there.
It is. And when you look at it from the street view, the building looks so small and narrow because it's shaped like a triangle, right? So they kind of went, well, how are you going to do this? And I said, I've got ideas. Like, I think we can do this. So
did you kind of have to sell them on the idea of the building, the vision, the whole thing?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, I think that they were, because RSG is really, they're out of the box creative thinkers in general. And if you look at like John Reed Fitness, each one is different. Everyone is unique. They have, original artwork pieces and sculpture and crazy design, but everyone is different, and they're very much of a creative mindset. So, I think that, once I kind of said, hey, I think I can make this work. If we do A, B, and C, they took kind of basically the building like floor plan and had a discussion with RSG and said, I think she can make this work. And they said, all right, we're open to it. Let's see what shakes out here. So they said, go for it.
How exciting.
Yeah.
So how involved are you in the actual design process versus corporate kind of coming in and saying, no, like you have to have this or that?
Sure. There's kind of, per the development agreement, there are standard required design elements. Obviously, we have to use the Gold's Gym fonts, their logos. We have to have the Gold's Gym sign on the building. There's some interior design elements that are required, which makes sense, right? That's what we want. We want to make sure that when people come in, they know we're a Gold's Gym, and corporate has all that figured out, right? They're like, if you do X, Y, and Z, everybody knows you're a Gold's Gym. Right. So, okay, we get that. But beyond that, it's really up to us. I mean, we can choose our equipment. We can choose our flooring color. We can choose if we want, what flooring material we want. We can choose, a lot of those different equipment colors. We can choose all of that ourselves. And and that was part of what drew me to the brand too, was some flexibility. And I knew that the way that space was and how it kind of sections itself off into different rooms, I knew I was going to probably need a little bit of creative flexibility to make it all make sense. So that was an attractive part of signing the deal too, was we get a little bit of creative freedom, which is nice. It's
such a great location too. There's a ton of the demographic. I mean, did you have to provide corporate with the numbers of the people that live there? And
you know what, they actually provided that to us. They have all the right software to pull really any demographic information. I was able to kind of supplement that just because of my role of being involved, so involved in the Channel District myself and being the chair of the Channel District redevelopment CAC. So I could kind of speak to, here's what I know, here's what this community looks like, here's the growth, here are the new buildings coming online, here are the new things that are happening, this is what Gas Worx is all about. So I could kind of provide them with that. But as far as this, the statistical data, they actually, ran the numbers and sent it to us and said, we knew Tampa was growing and we knew this was a market we wanted to be in. So, we knew we wanted a franchisee here, and here are the numbers and what you can expect. And the demographic, your target demographic is actually perfect in that location.
Yeah. If you drive down any street in the Channelside neighborhood, it's half the people are in workout clothes. There's so many people, probably 25 to 35.
Yes. Very much
a lot of young people, a lot of people that work out.
Yes.
And that's probably the reason why Crunch is so overflowed, because that's the only big box gym in that really area at all. I'm trying to think of the closest other large gym that would accommodate probably LA Fitness on Dill, Mabry, and Kennedy.
Correct.
But that's a drive.
It is.
A lot of people want to walk.
Sure, exactly. And I think a lot of people, now they do. They want to, if they have to drive to work and back, they want to park their car and they want to be done with their car for the day. Or if they work from home, they don't want to have to get in their car to go to the gym. They want to take their scooter, they want to take their e-bike, they want to walk. Alternative transportation is huge. It's huge in that neighborhood. It's huge downtown Tampa, and we're going to provide some assistance with that, and we're going to have free e-bike charging and parking, and free scooter parking and charging as well. And
it's amazing.
And they can charge their golf carts if they want. We're going to have all the things that make that to encourage that alternate transportation too. Just because the more cars you can kind of take off the road in a dense urban environment, the safer it is for pedestrians in general. True. So, we're trying to sort of speak to that and support that.
You have an interesting perspective with the Channelside CRA. Mm-hmm. You kind of are on the board there. And aren't they getting rid of that? They're getting rid of some sort of a tax incentive. I heard something like that.
Well, CRA...
Redevelopment district.
Right. So CRAs have a specific lifespan, and at the end of that lifespan, then they sunset, right? Which means that they're done. The whole point behind the state legislature creating CRAs was to revitalize blighted neighborhoods. So at the time, the Channel District was industrial. It was blighted. It was really bad. So it has been very successful to get it to where it is. I think we still have a lot of work to do, and we're still doing a lot of work in the neighborhood, as is downtown and Drew Park and East Tampa and and all the other CRAs. They all are very active and do a lot of good work. But yes, once we get to that point, then it sunsets.
When is that point?
So as of right now, sunset in it's 2035. I'll have to double check that, but I think.
Oh, y'all got some time then.
Unless we get extended, which some of them do, some of them don't. It just depends. We may or may not need to. Channel District might be at the point then where it's like, okay, we don't really need to.
I mean, growing up, I was born in Tampa, so
right.
I have that perspective. I can tell you probably don't need it by 2035.
Look, I don't. I love being
which
involved.
Means you've done your job.
Correct.
Though.
I mean, it's a right. There's a good and bad with that, right?
Yeah.
The good thing is we've done our jobs. We've put in the work. We've made it what it is. The bad thing is, it's over. And,
I know.
Yeah, right. But and I think a lot of people too think that CRAs create an additional tax burden, and it does not. It is just it's incremental tax. So it's that part of the property tax they already pay just gets set aside to be reinvested back into that specific neighborhood that they paid it from.
Got it.
So there's not an additional tax. So it's not like when we sunset, their taxes go down. Nothing changes. It's just that
it's allocated differently.
It's allocated differently. So when it sunsets, then that money just goes back sort of into that general fund to be used by the county.
And that money that goes towards the CRA is set aside for like certain landscape projects, cleanup, stuff like that.
Exactly. So we have several different things that we can do. All of the infrastructure replacement that has been going on in the Channel District for the last, 3 years now, including Channel Side Drive. The work that's been happening on Twigs, 12, that's all us. We pay for all that, and then we've designed and managed all of that. So we have some new landscaping plans that we're doing as well. We're getting ready to start that. We're going to start working even closer directly with the city of Tampa on some more affordable housing initiatives in the Channel District, which I think is an important thing to focus on. I think Tampa's a little behind other cities when it comes to affordable housing, and I think it's important. So we actually have a housing workshop coming up here in a few weeks to start exploring more ways that we can use our money from our budget, to help either supplement private development or perhaps even build, some developments ourselves, which CRAs are allowed to do. So,
interesting.
Yeah. And I think it would take a partnership with a developer to really that to make sense. But
like the city does.
But it can be done. Right. It can be done. Sure. Absolutely.
How long have you been on that board?
So I've been on the board for 5 years, 6 years.
I knew I had recognized you. Did you live at one time at Grand Central at Kennedy?
No, I've lived at the tower since I moved to Tampa in 2017.
Okay, because I was on an elevator one time. This was a few years ago when they were trying to push through the Meridian project, which they're building now.
Sure.
And they were, I think, a large component of it. I believe there's still today a small component, but a large component of it was supposed to be self-storage. And it was a really big debate. Like a lot of the neighborhood didn't want it. There was a big community outcry. And I remember a woman on an elevator, I'm on the board there and it's a travesty and we don't want this to happen. I think it was you. Maybe, right?
It might have been.
If you were on the board 5 years ago.
I wasn't necessarily a big fan of self-storage in the Channel District, but I think that they heard us, that developer heard us, and they're going to make it nicer and they're going to control it a little better than your typical self-storage where you just see trash stacked up in dumpsters and broken IKEA furniture and whatever else. But I think they heard us and they're going to be, nice neighbors.
Well, that's so important, right? Like as a community transforms literally from, what's the word you use? Not decrepit. I don't know.
Blighted.
Blighted. So as a community goes from industrial warehouses to a literal city with restaurants and businesses and people living there, you kind of have to have that community input.
You do.
You're in Wild West land a little bit.
Definitely, for sure.
So it's so interesting how this new project you have going on, the new Gold's Gym and Gas Worx, you're really on that edge of the Channel District and then moving into Darryl Shaw's new Gas Worx development. Once that is all built, you're perfectly positioned in between the two. Do you feel like your space is a little bit of an anchor or like midpoint between those two neighborhoods?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think so. I think that, us and our neighbor Four Greenfields next door, I think that we're really, and Darryl's going to have some other buildings that are really close to that eventually. But yeah, I really think that we're kind of where that transition happens. And I think we're kind of that link between those two neighborhoods.
Yeah. I don't know that any other place would be in a better position than kind of what you described to me today. Let's kind of go through the project because it's so exciting. There's so much cool stuff. It's, if people think this is just another gym, it's really so much more than that.
It is.
It's amazing.
It is. Yeah.
So you mentioned there's, you've got the EV charger, you've got the bike racks, electric chargers for the bikes and the scooters. So the accessibility is awesome.
Yes.
You're right on the Selman Greenway.
Yes.
Obviously you're in between a connector road. I believe is it 12th?
Yes.
So which literally directly connects Gas Worx and Channelside. You're, to get there, like logistically, you're in a perfect position. But the actual project, like describe kind of the vision for it.
Yeah. So I think it was really driven by the space. I walked in and said, okay, this place is wild. It's shaped like a triangle. We have some weird corners and we have these loading dock rooms and we've got, cash storage vaults. I mean, like metal and concrete vaults with big safe doors on them with combinations. And I'm like, what do we do with this? But I think what the vision now that's actually transpired and is on paper, in our design is very close to what I first thought when I first walked through the space the first day. So it's all ended up being very, very close to what I originally thought and saw.
Did you see some of those corners and just think, uh-oh, how am I going to make this work? Or did it almost give you an excitement like, ooh, I get to be creative? And
yeah, I think a little bit of both.
Yeah, for sure, right?
Because I was like, is this going to be a problem for equipment layouts and being able to fit everything in here that we want to fit? But at the same time, it was like, okay, but we have a dead corner, so I think I can do something fun here, and I think we'll have a couple of fun little surprises that people will see when we open, where we've used some of those weird spaces in interesting ways.
That's awesome. Yeah. Tyler, zoom into that back area there. You were describing to us, there's a back area.
Yes.
You can kind of see it on the screen here. So that whole back area is going to be turfed. Correct. So you'll have like tires out there, sleds, stuff like that.
Absolutely.
A large part of this project is really there's an outdoor component to it.
Correct. Yeah.
I don't know if you know the numbers on the square footage, but it's a significant amount of outdoor workout space.
It is. I don't know the exact square footage of the outdoor spaces, but we kind of have the two different outdoor spaces. The space that's in between the two buildings, we saw that as an opportunity. And when I was at the leadership conference back in September, I had the opportunity to go to Venice, and we went to the original goals, and they have an outdoor area, and when I saw this property, and I went, okay, like we can do a whole Venice vibe here, right? We can kind of be the Florida version of Venice, and
I love that.
Have an outdoor strength area, and make sure that it's funny. I was talking to my Gym 80 rep Greg, and I said, like, for lack of a better term, I kind of want it to be like like a prison yard.
Yeah.
Where
it definitely has that vibe.
It just in the best kind of way.
Yeah.
Where it's like we have pull-up bars on the walls, and we
Right.
have benches with plates, and we've got some plate-loaded equipment out there, and it's just kind of a raw outdoor plate-loaded based strength area.
That's what we want.
Yeah, and I think it's really unique, and so that was really exciting, and so we saw that as an opportunity. And then what you first talked about on the back side of the building, because that outdoor area is an extension of our indoor functional space. So we saw that as a natural way to sort of make another outdoor area and be able to let people that are in a functional training, let them move their training from inside to outside seamlessly. And so by adding that turf out the back, out of that big roll-up door from the functional area, I think people can really, move their workout easily from, indoors to outdoors and back in.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people want. And you kind of mentioned too, you're very focused on the strength training component. There's no pool,
no,
right? There's no large fitness dedicated studio.
No, we do not have group fitness.
did Gold's Gym have their input on that, and you had a separate input, or how did those views kind of align?
Yeah, typically most Gold's gyms put in, GGX, which is their Gold's group fitness classes. But I think because of the success of so many of the smaller niche type group fitness facilities like Orange Theory and, and F45 and Union 3 Studio and, Rocket Fitness,
Body Rock,
and all of them, I think that with the success of the niche clubs, they've done a great job at it. I think, they've got their market. And,
for sure.
And I think, I think my argument to Gold's at first was, I don't see a lot of people at strength training gyms in the group fitness classes. The numbers are small. They're smaller than they've ever been.
That's a very good
and I said, looking at that and seeing that, I don't think we should take up the space for that. I think we will do better if we just speak to our target demographic, and we don't try to be everything to everyone, and we just focus on giving our strength trainers their strength equipment, our functional trainers their functional equipment, and a cardio space, and that's it. Let's just be what Gold is, which is strength training, right? So let's go back to the roots, and let's just, since this building's so unique, and since, we're really this is the first time Gold's has ever been in downtown Tampa, let's just go back to the roots, and let's not do group, and let's not do kids club, and let's not, because I don't think that's not our demographic.
And oftentimes people do have memberships to both of those types of facilities.
Yes.
And if you still want your spin class, you can still go.
Right.
All that sort of stuff.
Yeah, roughly somewhere around 50% of people that hold gym memberships to strength training clubs these days have a second membership somewhere else. And it might be another strength training facility because that's where their friends go, or that's where their significant other likes to go, or whatever the reason is, or it's one of the niche, more niche type facilities.
Is that a concept specifically for this location? Meaning, like, if you did open up a big box like the traditional Gold's Gym or brand gym, would you implement those other facilities?
I think it all depends on location.
Yeah.
I think if you're a little bit more of a suburban location, you do better generally if you have that offering in there. But even with some of the more suburban gyms, they're kind of starting to go, if we have the space, we'll do it. But if it's going to take away any strength training area, we might not.
Right.
Because they're really starting to look at that way too. So I think it depends on where. I think in the more urban core environments where you are seeing a lot of really successful Orange Theories and F45, those types of, niche spaces, I think that when you're in the core urban markets, it probably will always be based on, strength-based and functional-based, and that's it.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like there's so much room to go around too. I mean, there's so many different types of workout facilities now, whether it's CrossFit or like an F45 HIIT style training. There's something for everyone, and there's something on every corner.
Absolutely.
So I don't think that opening up a strength specific gym and not having those other components, I don't think you're losing people.
Right.
I think if anything, you're gaining people that don't necessarily want to even be around that other person, because it really is a different, it's a different workout, of course, but it's also a different type of person.
It is.
The person that does yoga has different needs than the customer that wants to do strength training.
Sure. Their focus is different, and their body composition goals are usually different, so I just think Gold's has done an amazing job, and RSG as well is just kind of going back, really focusing on the basics and saying, we can't, and there's some Golds that are huge facilities that have been there for a long time in other cities, and they will always have a pool, and they'll always have kids club, and they'll always have all those things, because they always have. But for the newer franchisees coming in, I think the thinking is more, let's focus on strength and functional, let's get back to our roots. And RSG sees that, and Gold sees that, and they've been really supportive of that, especially in our case, because I said, look, our demographic in this urban environment, I don't think that a kids club is going to be beneficial for us. I mean, I think there are some young families in the Channel District, but
if anything, a dog park would do better.
Right.
A dog watch. Right. There's more dogs than babies
sitting.
In Channel Side.
Right, there is for sure. And I'm like dog sitting on site, right? Exactly. So that might be right. But I think there was just certain elements that it just didn't make sense
for sure
at our location.
So back to strength, back to basics, right? Traditional Gold's Gym. It's bodybuilding focused, it's physique focused, it's strength focused. Funny thing though, the building is almost already built out to look something like that. It's steel, it's concrete,
that's right.
it's gritty, it's you kind of mentioned too, you're going to keep that look. You're not doing tile on the walls. You're going to keep the exposed concrete.
Yes.
You're keeping the exposed ceiling, stuff like that.
Yes.
What does Golds think about the look?
I think now, when they first walked through it, the corporate team came and they looked around and went, wait, what? Now I think they fully embraced it and they're just like, look, this place is just going to be cool.
Hell yeah.
Right? It's just, people are excited. I think the feedback I've gotten, especially since the press announcement, has been huge, and people are like, whoa, we're really excited about this. And
awesome.
Yeah. And I think that, Golds now is like, okay, Kimberlee is going to have this really unique space in Tampa that's just not going to look like any of our other clubs. And we're going to go with it. I mean, it's going to look like a Golds gym, right? But it's going to just look like a Golds gym in a triangular shaped concrete building versus a rectangle.
I'd imagine someone who's been in kind of fitness for 20 years and you love it, you take it seriously.
I do.
You're kind of like a kid in a candy shop with this whole endeavor.
Totally.
Yeah,
definitely.
How excited is Darryl Shaw to have this anchor a part of his project, especially like we mentioned before, in this great location in between Channelside and then the new Gas Worx?
Yeah, so he's been really excited about it and incredibly supportive and helpful. And he anybody who knows him knows he's just an easygoing guy that's just so, he's so easy to talk to, and he's so humble, and he's just really been amazingly helpful and supportive. And I think he's really excited about us bringing a fitness and wellness anchor, right to the edge of Gas Worx. And, and he, I know it's important to him to focus on, green spaces in Gas Worx and places for people to gather outdoors, and, walking paths and connecting into the trails, and, making sure that people have a lot of outdoor, opportunity and fitness related opportunity in Gas Worx. So I think it tied right into his vision. Yeah.
So he recognizes the need for this type of a niche. And
yes,
again, you'll probably still get the F45 to have a location up here, and all of that. Sure. And like we said, there's definitely room for it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if anything, I mean, I hope to partner with some of those other, fitness facilities, and, maybe do events together and things like that, because they just offer something different than we do. And I think that if all of us within this fitness space look at it as we all are offering something differently, let's work together, let's support each other, we're all going to be successful.
Right.
I don't look at them as being our competitors, because they just offer a different product than we do.
Yeah, and it's a different personality and a different, it's someone with different goals that goes to an F45, a functional training or yoga or whatever it may be.
Absolutely.
So the actual space, we went through it earlier, like we mentioned.
Yeah.
Smoothie bar. Do you have someone coming in to run that? Is that your own type of thing?
No, we're gonna do it ourselves to start. We'll see how that goes. We might eventually end up outsourcing it. Some of the franchisees have, some of them still do it themselves. It just really depends. But we're gonna just kind of have a sort of limited menu, but offer some smoothie options, just as an amenity to our members, and we'll have a pro shop there too, where obviously we'll have Gold's gear and supplements and things like that people can pick up, and
awesome
protein powders and all that. So so we'll have that. There'll be a little member lounge up at the front of the club, for a place for people to kind of kick it and hang out and get their smoothies and chill with their friends. Before or after a workout, whatever. And we're gonna have the equipment is the star of the show. It really is. I think I mentioned to you on the tour, I just got back from Germany a few weeks ago. I went over first I went to Berlin and got to visit RSG's headquarters in Berlin, which was great, and meet the team there, and went to the flagship Golds in Berlin, and went to a John Reed in Berlin. So the John Reeds are very cool. They're very interesting. We only have 2 in the United States so far. But they're very interesting clubs.
How much time has passed between kind of you deciding to do this and then identifying the space till now? I mean, this isn't necessarily like a 5-year endeavor.
No, we signed the development agreement in September of last year. So this is we made the call. We first started. The first phone call with Golds was March of last year. And so we're just past the 1-year mark of our first conversation with them.
All of a sudden you're in Germany touring facilities.
Correct.
I mean, this is probably whoa.
It's been a whirlwind.
Yeah.
So, and it's literally been a lot of travel, going to a lot of different events.
You've literally been around the world. I mean, you went to Germany, you went to the west coast of this country, like
3 times so far. Yeah, exactly. So,
because a lot of it's learning too. You're having to learn the actual business, the equipment.
Absolutely.
I wanted to ask you about the equipment specifically. You went to their facility, toured the manufacturer.
I did.
Why are they different than Matrix or these other brands?
Sure. When I first signed up, everybody was telling me, oh, you got to look at Gym 80's, equipment. It's so cool and it's so unique and it's so different. I'd never heard of it before, so when I was in Venice, I got to use a few pieces and I was like, okay, this is different.
Yeah.
It feels different biomechanically. It's built different. There's more adjustment points on the equipment to where we can adjust the heights and depths of seats and leg positions and pivot points and things like that. There's a lot more adjustment pieces, parts that really can suit our own height and style of workout more than some of the other equipment. And when I was in Germany, that was really the main part of the trip was. Like I said, I started in Berlin, and then I went over to Gelsenkirchen, which is where Gym 80 headquarters and factory is. And then I went also to go to FIBO, which is the International Fitness Expo, and it's just a massive event in Cologne. So we all gathered, together, and we went to FIBO, and then they have a huge event at Gym 80's headquarters every year called CraftCon, and it's where everybody can try out all the equipment on their showroom and use it, and they throw a huge party, and it was a whole vibe. Let me tell you, it was fun though. It was great. But part of that was the factory tour and seeing the equipment. So after having used it first in Venice, then at John Reed in LA, and then at John Reed in Dallas, and then at other Golds in Texas and other Golds in California, and Golds that I've been to, I got to use kind of every time I'd go through a workout, I got to use 4, 5, 6 more pieces. And so eventually, and then by the time I get to their headquarters, I get to try all the other pieces that I hadn't tried yet. So basically, I've tried the majority of their line now.
Wow.
And it is very different. It just feels different when you use it. It's built very differently. Most equipment is, I believe what they said, 2 millimeter thick steel. Everything with Gym 80 is 4 millimeters, so it's twice as thick. All of their construction, most of the construction of most fitness equipment is tube to tube, and then it's a weld. Mm-hmm. Theirs is tube inside of tube. Every single connection point, the tubes intersect and go inside of one another. So you have that extra bit of equipment strength there.
So not only the equipment itself is different in that you can get in a better body position to work different muscles, but the actual quality of the equipment is a lot higher.
It's a different animal altogether. Wow. And everybody was hyping it up, and I was like, I've never heard of this before, but it's a mostly European brand and German brand, and it's really been Golds that has brought it here into the United States. And it's starting to really catch on with other brands here, in the United States as well. And they've put some pieces in the Kansas City Chiefs locker room, and they've just put a couple pieces. I see Simeon Panda has a fully outfitted Gold's gym in his backyard with all Gym 80 equipment. He's an official Gold's brand ambassador, and so he has a full Gym 80 gym in his backyard.
Wow.
Yeah, it's great.
Must be nice. And I'm sure these pieces of equipment are an unbelievable price range. And
they are. I mean, they're more expensive than your standard strength equipment, but at the end of the day, the type of facility we wanted to deliver and provide, it was important to us to make the initial investment into the equipment, and we weren't looking to try to put in budget equipment. That wasn't ever our vision.
Wasn't ever the vision.
No, never.
If someone wanted to use that type of equipment, is there any other places around Tampa, like another gym that has a similar?
We will be in the exclusive gym with exclusive Gym 80 equipment.
Exclusive as in another gym is not even allowed to open up and use that equipment?
Correct. That's right.
That's a game changer.
It is, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you
exactly.
Now, it probably doesn't have a huge following because it's just new to this country.
Correct.
I think once people find out about it, though, they're going to want to join this gym just to use this equipment.
I think so too. The equipment is a game changer. I mean, I'm a total gym equipment nerd, right? Like, I mean, I've tried so many different brands and types, and I have my favorite pieces and pieces I don't like, and I have not used a piece of Gym 80 that I don't like.
Wow.
And, and it's just a game changer.
Amazing.
All of it. The selectorized, the plate loaded, the depth of their line is insane.
Yeah.
How much stuff that they have, and it's just, you'd have to have a 60,000 square foot facility to put in every single piece that they make.
Wow.
Because that's just, their line is that deep.
So they have very specialized equipment.
Definitely.
Amazing.
Yep.
Wow. So literally, it's not even like someone's deciding between LA Fitness, Gold's, Crunch. It's like what you are offering in terms of equipment and really facility is above and beyond.
Correct. Yes.
I can't wait.
Yeah. It's above and beyond for sure.
Amazing. And then kind of walk us through the rest of the facility. You mentioned there's a couple other cool little specialty rooms.
Sure.
I think the first one is the booty room.
We have a booty room. That's right. So we've identified and purchased 6 pieces of very specialized booty equipment, a lot of which you don't see in any gyms around here. So we will have a booty room. Yes.
And it's a literal room too, closed off from the rest of the gym. So it's private in a sense.
That's right. Yes. And it is. And I know, some of those workouts, can maybe, draw the wrong type of attention sometimes. So I think that, giving, I mean, look, let's get real. It's mostly going to be girls in there.
Right.
I think giving them a space where they can, be together and work out and focus on, building their glute strength and it gives them a place. I think it's
without
nice.
Completely separating them.
Correct.
In a different facility.
Right. Exactly.
Which is important.
Yeah. I mean, and it's just a few steps away from the rest of the plate loaded stuff, but it's
couples work out too, right? Like I've worked out with my wife a million times. I don't want to go to a separate gym. It's kind of nice to all be under one roof.
Sure. Yeah. And I think that, strength training wise and functional, we'll have something for everybody. We really will. We'll have your basic, expected pieces like leg extensions and, pec decks and all that stuff. And we'll have all of that, but there will be pieces that are above and beyond that no one else around here has. No one else around here will be able to have, except us.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And then you've got the specialized leg room.
We do. So some of the more advanced leg pieces, we're going to kind of put those in their own sort of dedicated room. And look, these rooms were already here. They're part of the structure. So we knew we had to utilize them some way. And in order to really maximize the number of pieces of equipment we could get from Gym 80, we had to start coming up with different ideas for these other quote unquote rooms, right? So I think some of the more advanced leg pieces like the vertical leg press and, power squat and things like that will go into that room.
That equipment, does that come in pieces that you have to put together? Oh my gosh, it comes.
It comes pretty much all assembled in big crates. It'll be
from Germany.
From Germany. Yeah, it's a sizable delivery charge.
I would imagine so, and it's going to get here on 15 semi trucks.
I don't even know. Wow. I mean, we're hoping it can just come straight into the port of Tampa, and it can just be put on
That'd be nice.
On our trucks and brought right over because it's so close. So we're hoping it can come into our port. But yeah, that's what the plan is.
What a job that is going to be. That'll be a sight to see. Them bringing all that equipment in.
It will be. Yeah, it'll be an undertaking. So it'll be
amazing
exciting, though. It'll be the day.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
And then probably the coolest room in the facility is the vault, the posing room.
Yeah, we are going to have a posing room. So, we wanted to make sure and offer a space for our competitors and, bikini and physique and, whatever different class they're in. We want to make sure they had a space where they can go and they can film themselves. We will have the mirrors. We'll have a Bluetooth speaker in there if they want to put their own walkout music on and do their whole routine. I mean, they can film, they can do whatever they want to do. So yeah, we wanted to make sure and have a space, for our competitors where they really felt at home. And that will be in an area of the gym where we will also have, a private dressing room. So the girls will have a place to change right there next to the actual posing room. So.
You've thought of so many things that probably someone with just a business mindset, like if someone just wanted to open a gym and make a bunch of money, they would have a completely different mindset than you. Like you're kind of, you've been in the business, you've been in the industry at least, or at least, an amateur, having fun with it.
Right, exactly.
But I'm sure you know a ton of people that do it professionally.
Sure.
You kind of hear their concerns and comments throughout that 20-year career.
Definitely.
And you're creating this experience really for them.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
we've been talking about, it's not for people who are doing yoga classes. It's
Correct.
for bodybuilding and strength training.
That's right. And, and I think as much as anything, even just friends and, people that I know that strength train, hearing what they don't like about certain things has like, that's been as much in my mindset as what they do like, because anybody who's serious about strength training, I want to make sure I don't give them what they don't like.
Right.
So I wanted to stay
Well, it is a
away from
business too. You want to be successful.
Yeah, definitely. But we really want to make sure that we give them what they want and they have a space, and and everybody walks in there and it blows them away and it exceeds all expectations, and no one's disappointed with equipment or the selection or the space or the vibe or any of it.
I think it's cool too. You mentioned a secret piece of equipment, which you couldn't tell me even off air.
I can't talk about.
So I can't dig into it too deep, but I'm really interested to see what that thing is. So you actually had whatever this is custom built.
It is being made specifically for this facility. Yes, there's a Gym 80 employee that he has been tasked with designing this special piece for us, and it's going to be really cool. We'll unveil it at our grand opening.
Amazing. I can't wait for that one. That's going to be so cool.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
And then upstairs too, you've got an entire cardio section, which is very spacious. You're going to be knocking out some walls to put some windows with beautiful views of downtown. Yes. That's going to be cool. Yeah. And then you'll have, you'll have your probably some Stairmasters and treadmills and all the standard stuff.
Lots of Stairmasters. That's one of the things I think that too, the trend has really gone to mostly treads and Stairmasters, right? So everybody wants to be on the stairs. So we're going to be heavy on the stairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's important. Yeah. And then
Mm-hmm.
up there too, that kind of back room. Can you talk about that too?
Yeah. So, we kind of had a no man's land space, and so what we decided to do up there was kind of do a private member lounge and co-working area where people can upgrade their membership if they want. They have to have a gym membership first, but if they want to upgrade, and we'll have a cap on how many of these that we're able to sell just because of the size of the space, but they'll be able to upgrade and have a co-working membership as well. So and a private shower and bathroom just for those particular co-working members.
It's so awesome. There's so many times I'm at the gym at the end of the workout and a couple things pop up, whether it's an email or a missed phone call, and you're like, shit, man, I kind of got to rush the rest of this and get home. And I was talking to Tyler though on the way back. It's like, man, that'd be so nice to just, you can rinse off, maybe bring your laptop, handle a couple things. I would absolutely utilize it. And a lot of people who are young, they're in business, they have jobs, of course. I guarantee that's going to be a popular spot.
Yeah, I think
so. That'll be
too.
an additional membership.
It will, yes.
But there's also the downstairs, I guess, complimentary for members space as well.
Correct, right. So we'll have kind of more of that open member lounge downstairs with couches and chairs and tables, and people can chill there, or if they need to take a call and step away from the from the strength area, they can do that there too. So
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
I love the outdoor area too. Outdoor weights.
Outdoor plate loaded. Yes.
Plate loaded.
Yeah, Gym 80 makes a whole series of an outdoor line. They make 9 pieces, and we got all 9 pieces. And
you're their best customer.
I mean, I'm one of them for sure. But yeah, so we'll have all their outdoor plate loaded stuff. And then we'll have some just basic benches, just an Olympic bench and pull-up bars, things like that. But
hell yeah,
yeah. We just, like I said, it's my super fancy prison yard workout.
I love
area.
that though. That's what people want. And like we've been saying, the location for it is killer. You're literally in like this old warehouse surrounded by the highways, and it's gritty, and like you just want to get this raw workout in when you're there.
Yeah, and that was the feeling, and that's. When I walked in, I was just like, I think people will come in here and just say, it's a badass space, and I can have a badass workout here. And badass equipment. Like
exactly, right?
This whole thing is a vibe.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And then your neighbor, you kind of mentioned you were going to possibly collaborate with them.
Yeah. Colin's great. He owns 4 green fields, and he's owned it for many years he's been through a couple of different locations. They closed the Hyde Park location and moved to this location. And we're going to collaborate on some special events, I think. Yeah. We'll have some fun stuff going on.
Well, how about a date for the opening? Any ideas?
Fall is probably the best I can give you right now. We all know construction, everything you think should happen, doesn't always go to plan, and things pop up, and there's always something that delays in construction. Right. So my background was construction management, so I'm very aware that those things pop up. So right now we're saying fall, and that's, I think we'll be in that window.
Yeah. You got a lot of variables too. I mean, you're getting custom equipment and stuff like that.
Yeah,
contractors.
Which is being made now already. So
you're getting pictures, updates.
Yeah, we're getting some updates, which is
awesome.
Fun. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah. It was great in Germany being there at their showroom. I got to,
I bet that was so cool.
It was so cool. It was so cool. Like, I can't even tell you how cool it was. And literally it was like, kid in a candy store. And just, they have a whole wall that's nothing but colors of, like, paint colors or powder coating colors for the frames and for the arms and for the upholstery. Wow. It took us hours to decide which pieces are which colors and which upholstery goes with that one, and what the frame color and the arm colors and the shroud colors. And it's all like, every kind of area has its own sort of color theme happening.
You're doing custom pieces down to the color, down to the stitching on the...
Yes, down to the stitching on the upholstery.
Oh my gosh.
Got it.
This is amazing. Yeah. This gym is going to be absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've been to some cool gyms, but the concept of it, the vision is so ambitious.
It is.
Did it start out like that, or it did,
yeah,
really?
It did, yeah. I mean, from the beginning, I was like, I'm one of these people that, when I'm in, I am all in. When I decide to do it, I'm doing it, and there's no looking back. And I'm going to do it the best way that I possibly can, and the best way that I know how. And I know everything I don't know, and I know when I need to ask, and I know that, being open to asking and getting the right information from the right people, including other franchisees and the corporate team and all of them, has allowed me to take this vision and to where it is now, and really starting to, we're right around the corner from making it a reality now.
Right.
So but it was always, this is the vibe. Like, this is the way. Like, it's got to be all the way awesome or not at all.
Right.
Right.
You've had so much perspective too, right? From like other franchisees, from corporate and all that. Is there anything that you've learned that kind of surprised you about the build out or the business itself?
I mean, I think it's all been a little surprising because it was all just so new. I mean, I think there were some things that I expected. It's probably a little more expensive than I would have imagined.
I would imagine so, yeah.
Particularly,
especially when you're picking out the stitching on a seat of a bench press.
Yes, that's right. So yeah, the equipment probably is a little bit more than we anticipated, but I think that's because we're going with with the different brand.
Right.
So that was surprising. I think the amount of decisions that I've had to make through the process, and the amount of time and work it really is making these decisions, because for every single product and service you've got multiple vendors, which Gold's has some preferred vendors that they use that they've had long relationships with, which has been helpful, but it doesn't always apply to every franchisee, because I also wanted to make sure I supported some local businesses as well if I could, right? So I don't want to just outsource every piece of this gym to other cities or countries, or I didn't want to do that. So, I am using some local contractors and local vendors, and I've gone that route versus some of the national vendors a few times already. So, I want to make sure that I support as much local small business as I can.
For sure. Yeah, it's very important, especially in a project like this. It's a local developer.
That's right.
I'm sure he would want that.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. And, and we want to make sure, that this gym feels like it's part of the community, and I think working with other small businesses, I think collaborating with other small businesses, we're going to have discounts. The only discount that we will be offering is for active and retired military and first responders, or police, fire, and EMT.
Awesome.
So, we want to recognize them, make sure that, that they're recognized and, and appreciated for their time, their service, to the community. So, I think that it's just important all the way around that every choice and every decision we make is mindful of being a good member of the community and being, really integrated into the community. That's been important to me from the beginning. How do we partner, with people locally and even, sitting here with you, it's like, I don't know if other, I don't know of, or maybe they do. I'm not sure. I can't really speak to all of them, but I don't know other franchisees that might, look to try to do something like this. But I want to be involved in the community. And I think a lot of that comes from my background of community service also, because even before Tampa, when I was in Cincinnati, I was very involved in, in city stuff there too, and local development, and volunteered and spent a lot of time volunteering like I do here. But, I think that, that it's important when you open a business to make sure that you're inclusive and you're part of the community. I want to be a part of the fabric of that area.
Yeah, you yourself are important, right? Like, I think a lot of people might look at this, oh, Gold's Gym is coming in, whatever. No, it's not. It's Gold's Gym is the actual corporate. You are the franchisee. Right. You've lived here for a long time. Right. You're super active. I think you, like you said, getting yourself out there, letting everyone know, hey, Gold's is just the brand. Like, this is a local gym. This is a local gym built by a local person.
That's right.
With local feedback and local vendors. It's for the community. This isn't some corporation coming in.
And it is majority female owned. So like I mentioned that I have business partners, but 75% of this business is owned by women, 2 women.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, I'm 50% owner, and
that's why you had to have the booty room.
We have right, exactly. And then we have the, she's 25, and then there's another 25. But that's the way we kind of worked it out. But but I think it's that is part of the story, and I think that needs to be told and be part of it going forward. It's not just a Gold's Gym. It's a Gold's Gym that's owned by somebody who's already very involved in the community and cares a lot about the community, and cares a lot about this whole area, because I've been here and I've seen it transform and I've seen it change, and I spend a lot of my time volunteering and to try to make it, a better place. I'm not only on the CRA, I'm also a member of the Downtown Partnership, and I volunteer through them as well. And I'm on two different committees with the Downtown Partnership, and so it's not just the Channel District; it's all of downtown and the urban core, and really the city as a whole. There's ways that we can all be involved, and I think that, me opening this business down there where I am most involved made a lot of sense, especially for our first location.
Well, it's such a statement piece of a location. Do other franchisees look at this vision and they're like in awe? I would imagine what you're doing is not like what a lot of other franchisees are doing.
Yeah, no, it's different. But I think that a lot of other franchisees don't have an opportunity like this.
It's so unique.
This is rare, right?
Yeah.
How often do you ever get a chance to be, in a building like this, in an area like that? It's just kind of it's a once in a lifetime.
And for Gold's to say yes to that is so cool.
It is so cool. They were so open-minded about it, which was great. So,
yeah.
But a lot of the other franchisees are, they're stoked. They're excited for me, and even owners of other gym brands, in other cities that I've met throughout my travels are super supportive, and they're like, you're going to kill it. This place is going to be so cool and so unique, and, your building is unique, and, just the story is unique. So,
everything about it is unique. Yeah. I'm freaking stoked. I can't wait for it to open.
Yeah.
If people want to follow along or follow the page, how can they find you and the company?
So they can find me on Instagram. I believe my Instagram username is Kimberlee _Curtis _, I believe.
Something like that.
Something like that. And they can link to
Tyler can probably find it real quick.
Exactly. They can link to the gym page from there, and I think it's Gold's Gym Tampa. Gas Worx on Instagram. Yeah. But it's also on our website, and you can just, at this point, you can Google Gold's Gym Tampa Gas Worx, and you'll come across the website now, and we have a link to Instagram from there too.
Awesome. Are you doing any sort of like a reservation, a wait list for memberships?
We will be. We will be starting pre-sales. We're a sponsor of the Tampa Pro show, and I believe that's in beginning of August, and then the Hurricane Pro in October. So we're sponsoring both of those, and so we will. I think we're going to launch pre-sales probably at the Tampa Pro show.
Yeah.
And start then, and we will be taking reservations then, and yeah, and welcoming in our original, our founding members. We really want to, kind of do something special for our first members that sign up with us early.
Well, I'm in. I can tell you that.
Awesome. We appreciate it. I can't
Amazing.
wait.
Well, listen, this was so awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
I really appreciate it. Yeah, it's awesome that that you guys are taking such an interest in local businesses and developments, and highlighting them and spotlighting them, and keep doing what you're doing. It's awesome.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
All right,
thanks so
everybody.
much.
Have a great day.
All right. Thanks.
Bye-bye.